Today we have the treat of a panel discussion, and our discussion, the topic is Liberating Love, which is this month's Soul Matter theme, with member perspectives on loving the CVUU. And so I would invite our panelists to come forward. We have Karen Impola, Floralyn Groff, Mike Knapp, and hopefully Linda Lechty is around somewhere as well. She went downstairs. So, okay, thank you, Nancy. And Nancy, if you can't get her, then you're going to have to fill in for her. So, and then also, as Bill mentioned, he was slated to be on our panel. And I have still invited him that if he wants the last word on our topic today, when we're done here in the room, we'll turn to Zoom and see if Bill has any final thoughts he'd like to share. So I think we'll just start, and you have the microphone, so we'll just have you pass it between you and Floralyn, and then Mike and I will share a mic. That way I can cut Mike off as needed. So first, I just wanted to kick things off by having you talk about, how long have you been coming to the CVUU, Karen?
I started in the spring of 2020, so almost 24 years.
Wow.
Of 2000, yes. I can't,
Yeah.
I'm not awake. Spring of 2000. So yes, 24 years.
Okay.
Well, I started here as a young mother to Heather. So
That was a long time
that's
ago.
a long time ago, about 45 years, I think. And had Heather and Jerry, my son. And so, yeah, that was a few years ago. And I was looking for a place where our children could be raised with alternative kinds of religious views. And we found it.
Pass it over to Linda. And Linda, I'll give you a minute you can either answer right away or we can let Mike go first. But how long have you been coming to the CVUU?
Probably around this time in 2019, I joined. So how many years is that?
Five years.
So yeah, and then COVID hit like soon after that. So I was here for about a year, and then
Yeah. Okay.
I've been coming here since April 1973. If you remember the big blizzard in town, and as when I met my first wife from here, and been coming ever since, and actually met all my wives here.
All two of them.
All two of them. Without any prompting, Mike said the line I was hoping he would say. Okay, so many of you have been coming for a long time, and Linda, you stuck with us through COVID. So my next question is, what has kept you all coming back? In other words, what do you receive from the CVUU? What value does the CVUU bring to your life? What is it that you love about the CVUU and coming here? And maybe this time I'll pick on Mike first, and then we'll go down that direction.
I guess the easiest way to say I come here because the UU has become part of my family, and that I have seen kids grow up that used to sit on my knee and are now too big to do that.
Now we only do that on RAGBRAI.
Yeah. And I've grown up with people that have become good friends of mine, become extended family. We go to protests together, we ride bikes together, we go out to lunch together. And it's the family, the community. And it's hard for me to find a large number of people that will tolerate me this long. So
Well, I too find this as a family for me. And I see myself having gone through many phases of my life, from, raising children and then being I was gone for 10 years, but I came back because this still felt like home, even though I was gone for 10 years down in Missouri. And being at different stages of my life. And now I'm at the other end of the spectrum where I really need different kinds of things from my family, and I'm receiving them very, very joyously. And I really appreciate all of that. So, I feel like I've given a lot with, my kids. When they were little, I was part of the RE program and the director of RE, and now I'm giving in different ways. So, yeah, just going through the whole spectrum.
Well, I can kind of co-sign what Laurelyn and Mike said, but when I first started coming here, the things that kept me coming back more immediately, my kids were like 2 and 4 when I started coming here, and they developed relationships with other kids here. And some Sundays it was like I was willing to sleep in and the kids were like, no, we have to go to church. And the other thing that kept me coming back was an opportunity to participate in music. I grew up in a religious vacuum, so I didn't realize the things that a church community could provide. So I'm happy to have found them here.
And I keep coming back because I like the people here. I like how open-minded they are and how welcoming they are to anybody. I also like the fact that every time I come here, I learn something, whether it be in the sermon or whether it be during the adult forum or just from talking to other people. And, I just learn about general knowledge, or mainly, most importantly, I learn how to be a better person.
Okay, well, Linda, hold on to that mic
Oh.
because we're gonna just come back this way again. So, yeah, great. Very nice. So how do you show your love for the CVUU? And, specifically, how do you help out around here? What jobs are you currently doing for the CVUU? And Linda, specifically for you, part of why I invited Linda to be on this panel is you might have noticed the term of service gap between Linda and the rest of the panelists. Linda she jumped in as a new member. I mean, there was that pandemic thing in the way, but as soon as we were back in person, she jumped in and took over hospitality and getting people to sign up for hospitality. And so, Linda, if you could talk a little bit more about, what made you do that? And what do you have kind of words of wisdom for other new members, or just about getting involved? Like how was that experience for you?
Well, I actually got involved like pretty early on in 2019 because I was on a hospitality team when we used to do it a different way. And then I also was asked to be on the caring committee. So I think that was, early on, like after a couple months, and pretty much, this is probably not what you're looking for, but I got involved right away because I was asked to be on a hospitality team and I was asked on the caring committee, and I sometimes have a problem saying no. So that's why I was, but like, I'm half joking because if I really didn't want to do it, I would have said no, but that's kind of my whole life. Like everything that comes up, I'm like, ugh, like I got to get ready. I got to go to this, but like I make myself do it, or for some reason I say yes and I do it and I love it. And I'm so glad I did. So yes, I'm so glad that I said yes to both of those things. And because I got to know other people and I knew who everybody was. And then people got to know me too. So I felt like I was part of the family early on, because I wasn't planning, on getting involved so soon. I was going to give it a year, whatever, but I'm so glad that I said yes to both of those things. And then after the pandemic, Micah was leaving, and she had done it for so long. So I've always helped in the kitchen. And so I think that's why they asked me to take over. And so, what do I do? So let's see. I try to get people to sign up for hospitality to bring food. And then I'll have to train the new people, and then I get supplies. and I've kind of taken a back seat because of my, health situation. But, there's been people that have kind of stepped up and have helped in those areas. So, because I can't stand too long anymore. But I also want to say that, like being on the other side, like people ask me to volunteer and, sometimes I would say yes. But now I'm on the other side where I need people to sign up. So I can see that side of it where it's very frustrating when nobody signs up and very sad. But then when someone does sign up, it's very happy, and I'm so appreciative of that. So after my surgery, I'm going to, like volunteer more often since I can, do more physically. So, and I've always thought it was so nice, somebody puts something on Facebook, our discussion group, and says, I need volunteers. And there's always someone that steps up. Well, after my surgery, I want to be one of those people.
What was the question?
Yes. Yes. I was thinking I should restate it. So, and feel free to, like, this to me, take your time in answering this. So how do you show your love for the CVUU? Specifically, how do you help around here, and why? Like, it's a lot of work. So
Yeah.
how do you show your love?
Well,
And why?
I've been on the Religious Services Council almost as long as I've been coming here. I think one of the first times I showed up,
And
Carol,
Karen, if I can interrupt,
yeah.
what does the Religious Services Council do?
Religious Services Council is responsible for making sure there's something going on every Sunday morning, and also the occasional funeral or wedding, or that's what we were called Sunday services. And then we thought, no, we do things that don't happen on Sundays also. So, and I was going to say, one of the first times I showed up, Carol and Hildebrandt came up to me and said, would you like to run a service sometime? And I was like, what? I just got here, but I ended up, I ended up signing up to be on the religious services. I think it was called a committee back then. And I discovered I liked doing it. I like having an opinion about what music happens during a service and how things should be set up. And I know how to make things, I know how to at least try to make things last 1 hour long. That's in case anybody doesn't know, I work in radio, so I know, like, in my job, an hour is 59 minutes and 0 seconds. So I have some sense of what of programming. I mean, put a service is kind of like putting on a show, and I think that's fun. And I very much appreciate having a chance to participate in music. And I've learned, I'm an alto, but I spent very little time being in choirs or anything in my childhood, but I have learned to sing harmony over the last 20 years, which is good because I was an alto, but I was always only listening for the melody. So I really appreciate that. I think music is a form of worship, of spiritual practice. How else do I show love? I mean, I do a lot of little things behind the scenes. I'm a Zoom host sometimes. I work in RE sometimes. I, do hospitality sometimes, but and I, when I'm able to, I try to step in whenever somebody needs help with something. And I also, I'm on the board. I'm currently vice president of the board, which makes me chair of personnel, which makes me the one who sends the payroll company the hours that our staff works to make sure they get paid every month. So that's an important task. And I also give money when I get what I can, because I know it's important.
And you're on the stewardship team.
Yes, I'm Mandy Booty and I are chairs of stewardship.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
All
so, yeah, I've worn a lot of hats here, and sometimes maybe a few too many, but I like having both sides. I like being a Zoom host because I'm in the room. You're aware of how the service goes on in the room. But now that we have Zoom as well, I like to be a Zoom host once in a while so I can see how the service is happening on Zoom and how that might be improved.
And while you're passing it to Florlin, I would ask show of hands of our panelists. How many of you have ever been president of the board? I knew the answer to that question. I thought you all might get a kick out of that. All right.
Yeah, some people do so many things they can't even remember all the things they do, right, Karen? Yeah, and I currently am on the Shared Ministry Council, which kind of is a committee that most of you don't hear a lot about because we work behind the scenes to make sure that things are staying in balance between the congregation and the minister, and if there's any concerns or issues that come up, we're a place where people can come and bring their concerns, and we will help resolve issues. And I really enjoy being on that committee or council because I feel like because I've been here for so long, I do know a lot of people, and it's been really important to me that as new people join, I want to get to know who they are and get to know them. And I realize we've had a lot of new people joining recently this past year or two that I still don't know everybody. So it's still on my list to get to know people better. And then because I'm on the Shared Ministry Council, I'm also the board liaison. And so I sit on the board and will take to the board issues or whatever we're working on, or I will take back to the council things that the board is talking about that maybe they wouldn't know otherwise. And then just recently, I joined the Accessibility Task Force. And that's something that, again, because I was around when the new edition was put on, I'm very aware of how we somehow didn't see fit to figure out about handicapped accessibility. And so now we're in that stage where we're trying to work on how do we accommodate handicap issues. Or disability, whatever the proper term is. And so I'm on that. And then I've, brought the labyrinth to the group. And I think a number of people have been able to participate in the labyrinth and be involved in that. And that feels like another spiritual, mindful journey that contributes to our group. Trying to think what else I'm on. I think that's other than the other groups that we've been involved in.
Okay. When I first started coming here, I was 21. I had just come back from Vietnam service and graduated from UNI in social work. And like I said, I became aware of UUs during the blizzard of 73. But I got here and like I said, I was 21 and there was a couple here, Dick and Vivian Shane. I don't know if you remember them. They were longtime Universalists. Their mother, Maud Shane, was one of the founding members here in that group. And everywhere I went in events, I saw Dick and Vivian here. And they were the first to come to help set up, the last to leave with cleanup, served on the board, served on committees. And I said, God, they were probably maybe in their mid-60s. I said, if somebody that old can do all of that, I can do that too. And they were and for my wife, Micah too, they were sort of role models for us. And that was setting a model for how we can give back to the UU as our church and as our family. Okay. And then as my kids grew up, they all like Heather grew up here. They, especially my daughter, I wanted both of them, and especially her, to be in an environment where there were so many strong women role models in this congregation over the years that they both have benefited from that, and they both have turned out to be really good progressive liberals. And my daughter still carries her card about the 7 principles in her purse or her wallet, or I don't know. They don't even carry those anymore, in her back pocket, I guess. Anyway, so that was one of the real motivating things for why I wanted to get involved at the level I've been. And over the years, I've served on probably every committee or council other than religious services, basically because I'm an atheist. And carrying.
That's not a valid excuse at this place.
Right.
I know, but it was a valid excuse for me. And I didn't want to get involved in that whole controversy over liturgical dance. So anyway, and you can talk to me later about that. And I'll tell you about the horrors of liturgical dance. But so I've been on almost any council or committee that we've had here. And got involved generally sometimes, like when I was involved in RE or I was a teacher in RE, it was because my kids were young enough, or because I worked in childcare. I ended up being the preschool teacher upstairs for, I don't know, 7, 8 years in a row there. But so I looked for things where I got involved that I either had a skill or an ability that I could add to that group, or because it was my passion. And I've carried that through to today. Now I'm the finance director. I chaired the recent Treats and Talents auction, which is where I have a lot of passion for, because I get to put on costumes and stuff. Anyway, because I'm basically a shy person. And nobody believes me when I say that. But, and Juanita knows, though, she is also a shy person, she will tell you. And I'm on the personnel committee and I'm getting the hook. So she has taken over a lot of roles that my wife Micah has done, or Mary Kay has done, in terms of cutting down my talking and giving me the correct answers. So.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Well, I think we only have about 5 minutes left, and I know Jess has a lovely song to play for us at the end, but I do want to take, I want to give everyone a chance for kind of some final thoughts. Also, I had a couple other questions we don't have time for, but I encourage all of you, when we get down to coffee hour, discuss amongst yourselves, what has been your most meaningful and a fun experience or experiences at the CVUU so far? And are there ways you might want to get involved a little more? And if any of you want to talk to someone who can kind of counsel and advise you on getting involved, feel free to come directly to me or someone else on the shared ministry council is me, my mom, Floralyn, Nancy, and Deb Kyler are all on the shared ministry council. So you can talk to any of us. But so first, for the folks here in the room, and then we're going to turn to Bill. What advice do you have for others about getting involved? And do you have any other final thoughts? And keep it brief, please.
Just do it.
That was brief.
And going.
Could you say that again? I think.
We are all volunteers here, and it's up to us to keep things running and going.
Yes.
I
We do have paid staff, and that's 1 full-time person and 3 part-time people who altogether add up to maybe 1 more full-time person. So it's a lot of stuff that happens around here because volunteers do it. And while I have the mic, I just wanted to put in a little plug for these stewardship socials, building our community socials. We're not going to ask you for money at this event. What it is we wanted to have a chance for some people to get together in small groups. They're limited to about 10 to 12 people, and most of them are meals, like a dinner or a lunch. And I have the sign up sheet. You can see me during the coffee hour. We're asking you to sign up for at least one of these events. It's a chance to just get together and maybe get to know each other a little better and have a small group where everybody gets to talk about what CVUU means to them.
Just say, get involved, the sooner the better.
Okay, and then Ken, are you able to see if Bill has any comments there or?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to say that if you can, if you see it on the floor, pick it up. If it needs shoveling, shovel it. If you're like me and you're a deer in the headlights, when you're in a room full of people and it's social time, I do better helping in the kitchen, helping with tech. I get to meet people. I get to talk to them when I'm doing my tasks and things like that. And I don't feel the stress that I feel and the social anxiety that I feel in a social situation when I know I'm part of the program or part of helping out. So, you know, the only way this place keeps going is if we're all involved. The only way you're going to be involved is if you become involved. If you're sitting on the sidelines, you may not buy in, but once you start helping out, you'll buy in and help, and you'll feel better for it. You'll feel a part of the community, and that's what it's about. Love you all. See you soon.
All right, well, thank you to Bill, Mike, Floral and Karen and Linda for being on the panel. And hopefully you've all gotten something, you know, both a sense of love for the CVUU and the sense of part of how you build that is by giving and receiving. And we really think that the more you give, the more you'll get. So if you don't feel like you're getting enough from the CVUU, maybe you just need to dive in.